that except for its first chapter, which sets the stage, the Gita not only does not develop the action of the Mahabharata, but is rather at odds with it. Battle lines are drawn, the climax of decades of dissension, and on the eve of combat, Prince Arjuna loses his nerve and asks his charioteer Krishna what to do. Then what? Krishna, no ordinary charioteer but an incarnation of God, enters into some 700 verses of sublime instruction on the nature of the soul and its relation to God, the levels of consciousness and reality, the makeup of the phenomenal world, and so on, culminating in a stupendous mystical experience in which he reveals himself to Arjuna as the transcendent Lord of life and death. He counsels Arjuna to be compassionate to friend and enemy alike, to see himself in every person, to suffer others' sorrows as his own. Then, the Gita is over, the narration picks up again, and battle is joined. A terrible, desperate slaughter, compromising everyone's honor, by the end of which Arjuna's side emerges victorious. But almost every man of fighting age on both sides has been slain. Only great genius would have placed the Gita in such a dramatic setting, but it stands out from the rest as a timeless, practical manual for daily living. To those who take this dramatic setting as part of the spiritual instruction and get entangled in the question of the Gita justifying war, Gandhi had a practical answer. Just base your life on the Gita, sincerely and systematically, and see if you find killing or even hurting others compatible with its teachings. He makes the same point in the Sermon on the Mount. The very heart of the Gita's message is to see the Lord in every creature and act accordingly. And the scripture is full of verses to spell out what this means. I am ever present to those who have realized me in every creature. Seeing all life as my manifestation, they are never separated from me. They worship me in the hearts of all, and all their actions proceed from me. Wherever they may live, they abide in me. Chapter 6, verses 30 to 31. When a person responds to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were his own, he has attained the highest state of spiritual union. Chapter 6, verse 32. That one I love, who is incapable of ill will, who is friendly and compassionate. Chapter 12, verse 13. They alone see truly, who see the Lord the same in every creature, who see the deathless in the hearts of all that die. Seeing the same Lord everywhere, they do not harm themselves or others. Thus they attain supreme goal. Chapter 13, verses 27 to 28. Scholars can debate the point forever, but when the Gita is practiced, I think, it becomes clear that the struggle the Gita is concerned with is the struggle for self-mastery. It was Vyasa's genius to take the whole great Mahabharata epic and see it as metaphor for the perennial war between the forces of light and the forces of darkness in every human heart. Arjuna and Krishna are then no longer merely characters in a literary masterpiece. Arjuna becomes every man, asking the Lord himself, Sri Krishna, the perennial questions about life and death, not as a philosopher, but as the quintessential man of action. Thus read, the Gita is not an external dialogue, but an internal one, between the ordinary human personality, full of questions about the meaning of life, and our deepest self, which is divine.